Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, welcome to another special edition of Jack Rams Online on Mega Artist Media. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yes, you know why I always do that? It's because most of the time I fail to pronounce people's names.
Are you a white person?
Not really. I'm not really a white person. It's just that sometimes the barking di ralo.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, we know you as who?
Well, in the performing spaces, everyone knows me as Mash. Some people know me as Mash True Poet. Let's kill that name, guys, now.
Which name are we killing?
True Poet. Yo, guys. Yo.
True Poet.
True Poet.
Why did you call yourself True Poet?
Because I was young, Jack. I was young and I had the fire and, I was just like, yeah, I'm the true poet, But it was not in the sense that I am the truest poet, whatever. It was in the sense that I knew that in my poetry, in whatever that I wrote, there will be some truth. It's either personal or it's something that has to do with whatever it is I'm writing about, but there will always be some truth.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, and then you changed after what happened?
After I wrote a book.
Okay.
And then we were just like, you know what, now we need to get to a professional setting. So now we must go by full names. Now it's like Mashlene, MATLWA,
Sure.
Yes.
I had the same conversation with Sullo Chokwe. When I was doing an interview with him on the same podcast, he said he's completely dropping the poet, Poetic Lion, because of the book and the album that he recorded. So is this like a natural transition of like poets? Because artists and boom rapper, they move with the same name for a long time. I mean, Snoop Dogg tried to change his name. He went back to Snoop Dogg. I mean, like P. Diddy, like we don't know what he calls himself now, but yeah, we still call him P. Diddy. Puff Daddy, ne?
He went from Puff Daddy to Diddy to, it changed a lot of times, but I wouldn't say this is something that is a growth element that must happen with everyone. I think for me, it was just a personal choice that now, as I said, we're moving into a professional setting. So, you can't walk up and you want a paycheck and you're like, yeah, sign it to Mash True Poet. Also the name just sounds a bit boastful because I don't always have the opportunity to say the reason why I'm Mash True Poet is because this and this and that. So, when I was young, I didn't really think about that.
Okay. So when did this change come? When did you write your book, or when did you start thinking, okay, I'm going to write a book now, but I can't put True Poet on the book?
Actually, that was just the last element of it. Like the changing of the name was literally the last element of it. It was, the book was done, everything was done, and the last thing was, okay, what name are we putting there? Are we putting Mash True Poet? And it was just like, no. Let's not do that. Let's now, Also, we are documenting ourselves, So our names need to be there. Our surnames need to be there. Now it is outside of myself now. It's like, okay, there is a history of your people now, So the MATLWAs are there as poets. We have writers now, as, we have Kopano MATLWA. So now we have writers, and I feel like that name needs to be present. Yeah.
Right. Okay, it's interesting how all the people I spoke to on the podcast, they explaining the same thing. Ntikwane also changed her name as well, because like a name, like for her, it really meant something. It was both like traditional and spiritual.
Okay.
But for you, at least, and Sello, at least, is like now we are going professional and corporate. And also we are documenting stories, and we are documenting our stories and our history. So we need to change our names. But I also think that it's also like more of like a bloodline spiritual thing to say, if they were to identify me by the things that I have done, they need to be able to identify me by my real name.
Yes, I think it goes back to that.
Sure.
You know, because we can say, oh, it's just a surname. I need them to know that, you know, my father produced a writer and whatever. But, you know, it goes back to say that, you know, my people now are in the history books, if I can go that far.
So we're not familiar poetry.
I've been writing for a long time, guys. I started writing when I was in grade 9. I was 14 or 15 years, you know. You write, you get excited, you're writing, now people will
Sonnet.
know. The sonnet, you know, you're writing the sonnet, you're excited, you know, you're writing,
the rhyming,
you know, guys, I had a boyfriend, you know, I was writing there for my boyfriend, I wrote him, and then, you know, it's nice, it's great.
Okay.
Yes, I had a boyfriend.
So your first poem, was it a love poem or a breakup poem?
It was a breakup poem. It was a breakup poem.
Yeah.
Because
when people break up, they become motivational.
Yes. Everyone also, you know what they say? They say also when people are in love, they become poets.
Sure.
I don't know how true that is, but it's apparent.
Why didn't you start with a love poem?
There was nothing to write about.
How was it that boring?
No, not that it was boring.
Were you in love, Mara?
Yes, I was in love. And this man decides at the end of the year that he's not coming back to our school. So I'm just there like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Sure.
You know, the following year, then I wrote that poem. And then most people in the class actually found out that I wrote this poem. Also in the other class. So now I have to read it, you know. And people are listening and they know that I'm actually talking about this person, and it becomes this whole thing. I think they also asked me to perform it at the Valentine's something.
Sure.
You know, so I did that. Now this man hates me. He's not talking to me. We only spoke again in grade 12.
It sounds better when you say boy, man.
No, he's a man now.
Okay.
He's a man now. We must respect people. They're men. We're in our 30s.
Sure.
Yeah. So
and then you recited.
I recited at the Valentine's what. You know, I'm out at the balcony overlooking the whole school. I'm here there reciting. This man hates me more now. You know, and I suppose that was where it started. And then after that, we just started writing more, you know.
So you wrote more breakup poems?
No. Then I started writing love poems because, you know, I was in love with this amazing person at the time. And yeah, we just started writing from there. We started writing love poems, and then it just grew. It just started growing, and moved out of high school, came to UL, found this place called S Block, Performing Arts Center. You know, there are poets here, there are writers, there are singers, you know. Yes, we established this group. It was myself, Rifilwe, and Witumelo. I don't remember what we called ourselves, but it ended with us calling ourselves Bua Mo Africa Poetry. Because then we were young, we were ripe, we believed in feminism, in giving black people a voice, in being these black women that are writing and are writing about issues that involved, you know, us, the youth, that involved us black people, you know. So yeah, it just grew from there.
Right. So we are at University of Limpopo right now at Performing Arts Center, popularly known as S Block. Yes. That's where you found yourself.
I will say yes. That is where I found myself. That is where I found that I really love this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I really, really love performing. I really love poetry, you know.
What kind of memories does this place bring you?
It brings me a lot because we were reminiscing before we started shooting about how this place actually gave birth to so many people that now we're able to see on TV.
Sure.
You know, can name a few people. And, you know, you see these people.
Athamosoma is one of them.
Yes, we Tumela Mahlakwane.
Whitney Kataka is one of them.
Yes, you see them and you're like...
And Tabum Kawela is one of them.
There's a lot, you know? And you're just like, wow. Like, you know, I literally know these people. I don't want to say on a personal level, but at some point, as I said, that we're part of a group and Tubela was also singing with us.
Sure.
And we're doing these theatrical pieces. And, you know, you got to see someone... I want to say before their big break.
Sure.
And now you see them, you're just like, wow, the transformation. How amazing. So, it brings a lot of memories.
So then what poems do you start doing now when you start performing at the university?
Revolutionary poems. You know, we're like, Rema Africa.
Conspiracy theories.
You know, we are here, like, Africa, Che Guevara, you know, we're out here.
Historic and
you know, we're trying to be revolutionaries in our own right. You know, we're writing, we go into the marches sometimes, you know, and we come back and now we're writing about it. We're writing about the student struggles, you know, doing all those.
What did you understand by that? Were you like an activist or you were just a creative writer who just observed and wrote?
I observed and wrote because I don't like chaos.
Okay.
And there is a lot of chaos in the marches, you know, because it can turn whatever way at whatever point. So whenever there would be a march, go there, you observe. I would observe from a distance. And then after that, we're done.
Right. So I understand we have different roles as human beings, as individuals. And recently there's been a shutdown, a march. And you as a writer, as a creative performer, you are observing these things. So I want you to just describe to me, what do you think about activism, actual activism, where people like really protest and take to the streets and protest? But you saying... you don't form part of that, but you observe and write about it. Which is more effective in when you think about it?
As you're saying, everyone has a role to play. You know, you cannot be an activist. You know, there must be an action to what you're doing. You know, my role is to be the writer. You know, there are other people who are also observing and writing, you know, and documenting these things, you know. There are journalists, you know, and there are also people who are physically there because they need to form part of the masses, you know, and everyone has a role to play, you know, and I believe this is mine.
Yeah, but then now, what do you believe is the effectiveness of each?
You have to be authentic. Yeah, because, okay, you're going to the march, and then what? You know, you go
the
there.
Same can be asked.
I'm writing about it, and then what? You know, if I'm authentic about it, then it means there is going to be an impact, you know. If we are just marching just for the just, there is no end goal, there is no seriousness to this, you know, then it's just going to be, you know, another march, and then what? If I'm writing and then I'm just writing just for the just, I'm writing and then what? Yeah.
So do you, when you start writing revolutionary poems, what was your idea or intentions and aim? What did you try to achieve with that?
We thought we were making a difference.
Oh.
I promise you. I thought I'm making a difference. You know, I'm motivating the people who are going out there to say that, do the things. You know, go there. and stand up for us who cannot be there for with you. I literally thought I was, making a difference. I thought I was, I was
But
there
now-
in the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, when you think about it, did it make any difference?
I don't know.
But
I
you're
don't-
still doing it.
I'm still writing, but right now when I write, I don't know who I heard this from. I cannot remember who I heard this from, who said, you cannot worry about where your writing goes. Your job is to write.
Sure.
So now I'm just writing in hopes that wherever it goes, it makes some difference. It can go to Jack, and Jack can be this prominent person doing his activism and whatever. I'm writing the same thing. Jack reads the work, but it doesn't do anything for Jack. It goes to someone else, they read it, they're not doing any activism of any sorts.
Sure.
But it makes some difference to them. I don't know what the difference would be, but we just hope it makes.
Have you ever had instances where someone came to you and told you that your work changed their life in any way?
You're not live. But like, bophelo, o changile bophelo ba ka kamoka,
It could be inspiring, motivating, or something like that. Or
Yeah.
really change someone's life who was about to hang themselves and they read your work and they were like, nah.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
Not okay. There have been people who have said, you've motivated me to write myself, to do this, to do that, but never changed my entire life. I don't know. Maybe. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it hasn't. No one has come up.
How would you define your work if you were to say this is your current work now?
My current work right now is I was writing on grief and love and blackness.
Okay.
Yes.
So you withdrew from being a revolutionary.
There are many ways of being a revolutionary. I just chose those.
Yeah.
I was in that period of my life when I was writing this. So, we just,
What are you advocating for now?
for people to be themselves.
Okay.
Be yourself. Write what you want to write. Someone said, if they don't vibe with your work, let's say in your hometown,
Sure.
go somewhere else. Go to Gauteng. If they don't vibe with your work there, go somewhere else. Maybe in South Africa, this is not your vibe. There are 1 billion people in China. Then go there. Maybe that is their thing, So, be yourself. Write whatever you want.
Okay.
There's someone out there who's going to resonate.
So are you being yourself?
I would like to believe that.
We have these issues of gender identity. And the reason I'm asking you, what are you advocating for? I was hoping that answer would come straightforward, but then now you summarized it and generalized it to say that you are advocating for people to be themselves.
Yes.
And I'm asking, are you being yourself? Are you able to identify who you are and live your life the way you want it in this current society?
I mean, sometimes in life, there are certain things that we need to do as people for our own safety,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So you cannot, right now as a writer, I can't go out into a country that does not want writers and say, I am a writer, I'm here to write, And as much as I cannot go to Ghana right now because they have banned the LGBTI community, So in as much as I'm saying people must be themselves, there are certain things in life that are going to stop you, but be authentic to yourself with caution and safety.
All right.
And just hope there are advocates and revolutionaries there to assist.
But you are in South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. And then how is the conditions for you here?
The conditions are very tough because we live in Polokwane. We're from the rural places, So there are always certain things that you'll need to explain, If I'm in Polokwane, there are certain things that I may not need to explain. I asked someone the other day, what are your pronouns? Right? And they didn't know what I meant, and I was I faulted them so much, but then I went back and realized that, we do not have access to the same information, and I cannot fault this person just because they don't have access to understand what I mean when I'm asking them, what are your pronouns? So,
what?
Jack, please,
So
man.
what? You wanted
please.
to be sure.
I just wanted to know I don't want to offend people.
Okay. One would be fascinated to know, how did your discovery come about and how did you deal with it? Especially to your parents, before we can talk about the community.
Ratatata, my parents don't know.
Your parents don't know? I mean, if you're saying your parents do not know, if they happen to watch this or listen to this, would it be their first time knowing?
No, I just mean we haven't really sat down and had a conversation. There have been, things that came up, but never a full-on conversation where we're sitting down, this is what's happening, and.
Really?
Yes.
And how long has this been?
I've been gay my whole life. Literally my whole life. Literally, in primary school, I had this crush. The first person I kissed was a girl. The first person I kissed was a girl. And I had a crush on our substitute teacher, who was this lady from America. She was there for a couple of months and whatever. And in my head, I don't know if it's in my head or if it really happened. We're really old now. I'm 30 now, Jack. But in my head, I had a relationship with this other person at the school,
Yeah.
So when I say I've been gay my whole life, I mean I've been gay my whole life.
Yeah, but then now, there are those common, usual questions parents ask about relationship, boyfriend, kids. Don't they ask sometimes?
They do.
And
we answer.
And what is your justification or excuse or reason?
There's never an excuse. There's always the truth.
And the truth is?
Right now, I'm single, so there's nothing to talk about in terms of relationship. I don't want children. I've always been saying this. I'm saying this almost every month at home, but no one believes me, And they'll say, no, you're just waiting for a stable job. You're just waiting for this and that.
Yeah.
They will make up the excuses. And I have always been adamant on the fact that I don't want children. I've been an aunt since I was 14 years old.
But don't you think that is unfair to them, though?
To who?
Your parents.
They have grandchildren.
No, not in terms of children. Sorry, I think I phrased it wrong. For you not to be able to, I understand there's being ready.
Okay.
Right? But there seem to be a lot of frustration that is building up, right? In terms of them frustrating you with all these questions.
It's not frustrating because, as you said, I think it's natural for all our parents to do this to us.
Yeah, but I'm saying, don't you feel like at some point you're going to burst out and say, actually, the reason for this and this is because of this?
No, it's not that the reason I don't want kids is because, it hasn't happened because I was having sex and then, no, I just don't want kids. Even if I was, having sex with men and whatever, I would take measures to ensure that,
How does it feel, man? Does it feel different, like having sex with men and...
I'm not going to talk about that with you.
I'm curious.
I'm not going to... Watch porn.
No. In your head, I'm thinking, do you feel like this is the thing when you're having with... Or when you had sex with a man and you're like, yeah, this is... Or this does not feel right, man.
Okay, let me tell you, Ne, because you want to talk about this because you want to be Jack Rams.
You're like, this does not feel right. Or...
Let me tell you, I've had sex with 2 men.
Yeah.
Right? Where things were inserted.
Yeah.
2 men. And with both of them, we couldn't go the full duration. Because I was just like, no, this does
it's
not...
not Iowa, man. It's not the one. Eh?
Yeah. And it started happening because I was just in that period of my life where I'm unsure and I don't know any gay people. So I'm just like, maybe there's something wrong with me, So let me actually try to push myself to, be with a man and see what happens and whatever, No. Couldn't go the full duration. I was just
it doesn't feel right.
No, this is not for me. Like, what do you mean? This is not for me. And I don't know if I should say fortunate enough, but those people didn't push to, it didn't turn ugly,
But then now, let's go back to your parents. Because I feel like this was not really answered properly. The frustration that I'm talking about is not necessarily about having kids.
Okay.
It's about now exploring and living your whole life openly.
Okay.
And having to introduce your next potential lifetime partner to them.
Okay.
And you're like, Batswadi, this is this.
Okay.
And hence I'm asking, don't you feel like it's unfair? With the understanding that there's the right time, right? But don't you feel that them constantly having to try to figure out your life without you telling them and also having suspicions? I'm sure they have suspicions. And sometimes when they ask these questions because they're suspicious. Because I know parents normally what they would do is they were like, when, right? Implying that
I know.
When you are because we never see you with girls, we never hear you talk about girls and what, and they're thinking, when no.
Yeah.
Right? I know parents would sometimes go to that length to say, are you sure?
Like
so
I
don't
said,
there
have been instances,
Yeah.
But we've never really sat down and talked about it,
That's because you are not ready.
It's not that I'm not ready. It's just that why should we have that conversation? Why should we? If I had a brother right now, okay, cool, I have sisters, right?
Sure.
My sisters didn't come up to my mother and they're like, I like boys, So why should I come now and say...
Maybe you should, with the intention and the purpose to educate.
Okay, cool, right?
Because like I'm saying, one day you rock up and it becomes sort of a shock to them. And I'm feeling it would be unfair to introduce it in such a manner where you did not have a conversation before.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And maybe my feelings are these because I've never been in a relationship where I felt like this is the time. Now I have to introduce this person to my family. Maybe because I've never had a relationship that went that far, then, I've never actually put it in my head that I'm going to rock up with someone and this is going to be a shock. Maybe it's that element for me.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, even when you say, why should we have that conversation, it is not necessarily just to inform them, but also to prepare and educate them about this whole...
Actually, last week, it was my birthday on the Friday. And on the Saturday, I was having a conversation with this man who is saying that his daughter, who's apparently not his daughter, has come out as lesbian. And he's asking her, what makes you think you love women, you know? So I'm asking, are you asking your sons the same questions?
Right.
No, are you asking your son who is straight, why do you think you love a woman? Because you're asking me as a woman that loves women.
It's
are you asking your straight people the same questions?
Well, we can justify it by saying anything new, people are curious and inquisitive about it. Maybe we can say
new.
We can say it's how you ask the question.
Okay.
Right? How you ask it gives an impression of what is your intention about knowing the answer to what you're asking. Right? So I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm saying a moment of education. We can never stop educating people.
Yes.
Right? And I don't want us to... I understand how personal and emotional it can be. But I'm sitting from a person who's not in the know.
Okay.
You understand? And I'm looking at this thing and observing it, and I'm thinking, this thing is not even normal.
Okay.
You understand? And I'm probably going to ask those kind of questions.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying it's how you ask the question that matters the most.
Yes.
And how you communicate and talk about this thing that matters the most. Hence, I'm worried about not even any other person around you, but your parents.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. You're speaking as a parent.
Of course, I am a parent.
Let's talk about the book.
Yeah. We're moving from that. Let's close it proper.
Okay.
So the reason I'm asking you all these questions and putting you in a corner, it's simply because of your t-shirt as well.
That's a lie. You're being jackrams. You're being jackrams.
Do you go to parades?
I have
Pride
been
shows?
to a number of parades. Yes.
Okay. What has been your longest relationship?
My longest relationship has been, I think, 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, I think
Nice.
3 years.
Yeah.
Guys, tlogelang lerato, tlogelang baninyana.
Right. So, do you incorporate this or include this in your writing in a personal or on a personal level?
Let me tell you, as I'm saying, tlogelang baninyana.
Yeah.
Yo, Jack, let me tell you. So let me tell you, in the book, there is a section called the Sorbet Poem.
Where's the book? Oh, yeah.
Here's the book, called the Sorbet Poems.
Trigger warnings.
Yes.
Mashlene, MATLWA.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a section called the Sorbet Poems, and it's literally just talking about how much I love this one person, and I can't even be with this person.
Yeah, but then now do you identify the person with their pronouns?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
But you can't be talking about people's names.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had a song with Sister Mercy. She featured me on her album.
Yeah.
Right? And in the first take of the song, I'm talking about this for the first time. People don't know this. In the first take of the song, I had this person's name because from the Sorbet Poems, because I was still, in there, I was still frustrated with, okay, why does this person... Still in love, with someone who does not even, hada, So I'm still there, and then So Messy's like, let's write, guys. Let's have a collab on my album, right? We do that. First take, I have this person's name, right? Fine, go home, we listen. Apparently there was something wrong with my audio. I had to go back and re-record, right? Luckily, I had come to my senses and I thought, you know what, let me not do this. So I removed their name from the song. Luckily. Because
before it went out.
Yeah. So
why did you title this book Trigger Warning? Because
we have these things in social media, in poetry, where when something is going to trigger someone, a certain emotion or a feeling or whatever, you must put a trigger warning before you actually send out whatever it is that you're sending out, And I noticed a friend of mine, I was, while writing the book, I would, share, and most of the poems came with trigger warnings. I'd say, trigger warning, this is this and that, right? Grief, whatever.
And which is what I was trying to tell you.
What do you mean?
You need to put a trigger warning on your parents.
I see what you did there. Truly see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Right.
So the name stuck. Trigger warning.
Yeah.
Because somehow the poems might trigger you.
What are some of your negative triggers?
Grief. I think right now it's the biggest one.
Why?
Because just lost my dad. I will say just lost because I've had this man in my life, my whole life. So now we lost him in 2021.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm busy talking about your parents.
Yeah, no, it's fine, So we lost him in 2021. So, I don't want to say I'm still grieving, but I'm still grieving, Yeah. There's still a lot of grief there, I haven't written about it. So right now, the biggest one is grief. And
how close were you with your father?
That man, anyone that knows me personally knows my dad would show up for me. I'd be in town and would go to the library and they would say there's a session after what Tuesday, what, and I'd call my dad and say, hey dad, I really want to stay for this. That man would wait for me.
I think I remember most of the time he would come and fetch you, call you, are you done? And,
yes,
that incident,
he would wait for me. Hey dad, there's no taxis, what, please wait for me. Or he would be the one that calls me and says, hey, there's no taxis, so
how are you going to get home?
How are you going to get home? Also because there was no Taxify Bolt then. So, this man showed up for me. I remember this one time. It's actually a funny story. I'm terrified of cats.
The cats?
The cats, meow.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of cats. So, in my matric year, back in high school, I was in the hostel because we'd have classes on Sunday.
Sure.
So, me and my roommate get to school. Sure. We find a cat in the hostel. It's just the two of us because we're the only matriculants in...
Yeah.
We're the only matriculants in that hostel, So it's me and her, we enter and there's a cat, right? So we both are terrified of this cat and my dad had just dropped me off. This is at Kushki. He has to come back to Polokwane, to Sheo. I call him, oh my God, Dad, there's a cat, we can't get out, what. Like, what do you mean? Just say shoo and then it's
the cat will go.
Yeah.
I'm
like, no, I'm so terrified, whatever. This man turns back. Already he's in town. He turns back. By the time he's there at the school, other people have already arrived. Now we're already in class. I didn't call him back to tell him, hey, actually, we managed to get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that man always showed up for me. What a man.
That's one memorable incident you remember.
No, there's many where he showed up for me more than I can say.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
One
then-
time I forgot a book at someone's house. He drove me there. So
And your
many-
mother?
My mom shows up all the time, every day. She's hardcore. And, you know, she's going to tell you that don't do that, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but my mom shows up every single day, you know, and she's there for us. Even sometimes when we're not there for her, you know, but my mom will show up.
You've been doing poetry performances for the longest time, man. So why are you not stopping? Because the industry in Polokwane, in Limpopo, in terms of poetry is concerned, is not really that active. A lot of people are not really involved, and there's just no activity sometimes at all for the longest time. Maybe throughout the year, there's nothing happening in terms of poetry. And you are based here most times, full time.
Yes.
And how do you now find an avenue to perform, recite poetry, and to even sell books, just poetry?
While I was preparing for this, right, I was watching other people's performances and, you know, and I don't remember who I was telling. But I kept telling that person, I'm like, guys, poets, banale malopo. Like, ke malopo this thing, because I'm watching other people perform. I'm like, ke malopo this thing. And that is what I believe. Ke malopo, and a malopo need an outlet. You know, this is our outlet. In as much as I want to stop, in as much as I can say, yo, guys, nakela pile ka poetry ya Polokwane, what. Ke malopo aka, at one point or another, I'm gonna need to come back. You know, currently I'm not in a hurry to sell the books. You know, these are my first batch. I made 50. No, I made 100. 50. Yes, it was 50. I'm left with 10. You know, most of them sold. Some I didn't sell. Some I was giving away promotionally and whatever. But yeah, I'm not in a hurry. I was not in a space where I'm not trying to blow up.
Or monetize?
Yeah, Kimalopo, guys, at the end of the day, I was not trying to blow up to be, I'm the biggest poet in, you know.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have that because then it means you have money, you know. But I was not there.
Even now?
I would love some money, Jack. You want to
Sure.
give me money? you want to give me gigs?
Yeah.
I'm down for gigs right
Yeah.
now. Because I believe I'm in that space right now where I have grown, where I can be in the corporate space and be able to make decisions that are sound, you know, that make sense and not just let's go, we want to blow up, we want to do this and that.
Have you ever invested yourself too much into poetry and performing arts to a point where you felt like because it's not happening in Limpopo, in Polokwane, you want to move to another place?
Yes, but it was not that I want to move to another place. It's very frustrating here because I'm going to say this, because the people who are the powers that be here, the people who have the money,
The gatekeepers.
the people who can actually make the decisions, aren't that passionate about art. And they're not coming back down to say what's happening, you know? If we're having these spaces, you know, the first people who should be showing up are the same people who are in those offices. They should be having our posters in their offices, you know, on the thingies, you know.
Promoting and marketing.
Because in the end, we are stakeholders, you know. As much as you guys are our stakeholders. That's why we are calling you. But when monetary things come, we are nowhere. They're not calling us, you know. So it was very frustrating in that sense. And I stopped performing in 2014, 2015, right? I went back to school, didn't finish that, but, you know, we'll go back. And then people kept asking me, Amash, why are you not performing anymore? I was like, no, guys, I'm going to release a project in 2019. Guys, the universe listens. It listens, Jack. In 2019, my life stopped. My life literally stopped. I couldn't do anything. So I had to sit down and actually write this damn book. So like my life halted. I had to come back home. Had to sit down and write this book. Wrote it, edited, did everything. This is self-published, took it out.
What did you study?
I studied...
Or attempt to.
Please, I'm only left with my third year. BA in psychology. BA behavioral science, psychology and sociology.
Makes sense.
So people learning and society learning.
Sure.
Yeah, behavioral science.
So after taking that break, didn't you think maybe this is not the one thing I need to do?
Like I said, Malobo, I can't get rid of it. I love poetry.
Really?
I wake up every day. If it's not my poems in my head, but there's going to be a line in my head, your poetry. It can be my line, it can be my friend's line, it can be a famous poet, whatever. But there's going to be a poem in my head, a line or whatever, because I love this thing that much.
All right. So today we are here for your show as the main act. And the topic is about
Xenophobia versus patriotism.
How do you feel about that? What do you think about it?
One line in my head. South Africa has the audacity to do that when it's a country with a history that it has. Can't be acting like that. Not with your history.
Illegal immigrants and foreigners.
Do you really think Miriam Makeba was there in Belgium with her visa and her what when she was in exile? So we really have to sit down as a people and say, the people who fought for us when they were in exile, what was happening? They were running away from something.
Moving underground.
Do you understand?
No trace.
Exactly. So we cannot be those people. We should not be those people. Even if we didn't have our history, we should not be those people.
Right. It's a very emotional topic to have because some of us, when we trace our roots, they send us very far outside of South Africa.
South Africa. All of us were foreigners in this country. Trace your roots. All of us in this country were foreigners. Source, trust me, bro. Yeah.
No, but I'm the source. I'm saying it.
Yeah, I know. It happens with a lot of people and with a lot of Ngunis also. Lebasotho. When you trace back, some people it goes to Zimbabwe. Some people way up to Zambia. Ghana and all those. So we cannot be those people.
Right. So as we wrap up, man, I think we've covered a lot of things, but then now, because we're also limited for time, you're about to perform.
Yes.
Hopefully I haven't drained you. You will still get into your mojo and then give a performance.
Let's hope so.
So you have something that you can do for the audience on that thingy?
Okay, let's see.
Is it, yeah.
I'm gonna read because, guys.
You are a writer. You wrote a book. So
hey,
read your
book. What's happening?
But then why are your poems so short?
I hate long poems.
They're like 5 lines.
I hate long poems.
So we have to analyze this thing now.
You know why I hate long poems? Because you don't have time to sit in the words. So with 5 lines, you have time to sit and actually think about what is this thing saying. what is this girl saying? Sinlo. Yeah. So we can't do this one. Which one should I do, Jack? Pick.
Okay, let me see where I am. Okay, let's see. I'm closing my eyes.
Bim, jagara, bim.
We are here on page
42.
42. Where does the poem start?
This is the poem. This is
no title. Okay,
no.
the title's
Okay,
here.
let me explain some. The titles are at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Also, that was very deliberate. Also, if you look at in the beginning, in the beginning, there are no actual names for the poems. It's just the chapters, you know, a genesis of birth thoughts,
and then you
letters
have
and then I have
inside.
poems inside.
Okay.
That was very deliberate because I noticed what I do when I have poetry books. I will look at the title and say, this looks like a very nice title, you know, and I will go to that title and I will read that poem, you know. So it means I'm skipping over other poems based on the title.
The title of the poem.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was very deliberate to do that.
Guys, we are on page 42. The poem is Second Mantra.
Yes.
And this poem has like, there's pronunciation of poem and poem.
Get your poem!
I don't know. I really don't care at this moment. One line.
Yes.
This poem is just one line.
Yes. Also, it's from the Sobe poems that we were talking about.
I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Let's do the one line.
Let's do the one line.
Second mantra.
I will write you into every poem like I do with my grandmother.
In the classroom, the teacher would say, let's now analyze
Okay.
the poem or the poem.
Get a poem!
Right, you want to tell us what that means? And what was happening when you wrote that?
It's from the Sobe poems. Like I'm saying, I was very much in love with this person, and I am saying that I'm going to write about you because I cannot have you. What I can do is write. So I'm going to write about you.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
I love it. It really had to take us straight to this that we started talking about from the beginning.
Yes.
The universe is what?
Universe is listening. Yes.
Mesh, man, machweni matlo.
Yes.
Matlo.
MATLWA. Yes.
Easy now. Thank you very much for your time. I really
so
appreciate
much,
you, man. Like, I've seen you grow in this industry.
Yes.
And there's nothing more I can do for you, just to wish you all the best in whatever you do, your endeavors. And yeah, like you said, now I have a clearer picture of what this is. It's not a job, it's not a corporate performance, or you have any other ambitions to do anything with it. It's just that
Ke malopo.
Danko. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Until we meet again on the next episode of Jack Rams online on Mega Artist Media. Danko.
Our hello world.
Yeah.
Hello
world. that one is gonna become a brand. We're working on something.
You see, even you have known you for long.
Yeah.